Hi, and welcome to Startup Fundraising 101. My name is Natasha Arora, and I lead the BD team here at Carta, focused on bringing a more collective and holistic venture ecosystem for founders, VCs, and our legal partners. So today we are joined by a star-studded cast, and I'm so excited to introduce them to you. First up, we have Pankaj Patel, who is the founder and CEO of Nile, where they are disrupting the status quo and reimagining the future of networking. His steadfast and dynamic leadership over the past 4 years has created a culture of relentless dedication to satisfying customer needs. This obsession has produced an unrivaled service focused on Pankaj's vision of simplifying network connectivity. The Nile experience of securely connecting people, devices, and applications was bred by his determination to deliver the best experience to the customer. He is a proven, results-oriented, and seasoned technology leader with 25 years of experience. Pankaj is also a partner and chief strategy officer at JC2 Ventures and a senior advisor to March Capital. Prior to that, Pankaj was Executive Vice President and Chief Development Officer at Cisco Systems. As an engineering head of the company's $38 billion product and solutions portfolio, he drove the business and technology strategy across Cisco's entire product offerings. Pankaj also serves on the board of directors of several technology startups, including Versa Networks, Spark Cognition, Unifor, Usher, and nonprofit GoTo Foundation. With that, welcome, Pankaj. Additionally, we have Jillian, who is a partner at Cowboy Ventures, a fintech fund investing in early stages. She spends her time across B2B and B2C fintech and vertical SaaS more broadly. Prior to joining Cowboy, Jillian was an investor in Anthemis and an early stage fintech focused venture fund focused on across North America and Europe. Jillian worked closely with companies across the spectrum of fintech such as Pipe, Power, Maxwell, and TrueLayer. She also led the launch of the Female Innovators Lab, Anthemis Venture Studio in partnership with Barclays that supports female founders. She also serves as the head of Black VC NYC and the New York arm of Black VC, a nonprofit with a goal of doubling the number of Black investors by 2024. Jillian was Forbes 30 Under 30 list in 2022, Crain's New York 40 Under 40 in 2021, and listed as VCs to know in New York by Business Insider. Welcome, Jillian. We're so lucky to have you as well. And last but not least, we have Sam Hodges joining us from Vouch. He's currently the CEO of Vouch and is a seasoned entrepreneur, has personally encountered the challenges and costs as well as headaches of outdated business insurance practices. He has recognized the needs for a better solution and founded Vouch to revolutionize the industry. Vouch's vision is to build a future where business insurance is built for the innovators and disruptors. Sam has raised over 185 million in capital for Vouch to date, and this is his third venture-backed business. With that, wow, we have a star-studded cast. So I'm going to jump right in. Welcome, all three of you. We are so excited. There are so many questions that the audience has already submitted. I know in our chats and as previously talking, we wanted to really understand what would be the best guidance that we can provide to founders, and what would be the best guidance that we could provide to VCs out there about what's going on in the market, what to make post funding success, like what is that for them? And the best thing that one of y'all said to me was, you know what? We need to teach them about the challenges that they might run into. So with that, I'm going to jump in really quickly and we're going to go straight to y'all. What has been the biggest challenge that you see as in post funding? It could be something that you've experienced, something that Jillian, you've seen founders experience, but really, what is the biggest challenge? What should people look for?
I'm happy to start there. I think from a VC perspective, something I've seen founders experience is It's weird. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but one I think is going into fundraising and really just having a plan for what you're using those funds for. I think sometimes you might go from this mentality of being a little bit more cash strapped to then all of a sudden having a flux of capital, which is a great problem to have. But then especially if you don't really have a plan for it, you might all of a sudden like grow your team massively, spend massively, and start doing all this tests. And like honestly, like that can seem like a great use of funds, but at the same time, it can also actually get you in trouble. You can see massively growing your team and then realizing you have a lot of actually ineffective people. And then actually realizing that you've just raised your burn tremendously and that revenue is not growing in the same way. Where all of a sudden you're doing all these tests in terms of customer acquisition and that's not actually being effective. And so really just understanding like what are the real uses for funds, one kind of going into a fundraise and then also kind of posts it as well.
Yeah, building on that, I mean, there's a great quip in the Valley, which is as many companies die of indigestion as they do starvation. And I really try to take that to heart. I certainly have made the mistake of raise a bunch of money and then you feel the pressure to spend it, right? Because you have more, investors around the table. You've got this opportunity to grow incredibly quickly, and you end up being less efficient kind of immediately following a fundraise. Now, I think some of that is natural just as you ramp, right? But you got to keep it under control and being really clear, what do you know about the business, what are areas you can optimize versus things you want to run as experiments, but you still need to figure out. I think having that discipline is crucially important. And I certainly have seen a lot of founders, I've worked with as, an angel investor and whatnot, where they can get really sideways if they overspend or kind of get confused about what is known versus something that still is something they need to figure out.
If I can add, a couple of points. By the way, I agree with both of them on what they have seen. I would say after you have raised the funds, congratulate yourself and move on. Number one, very quickly, because and actually, one of the things that people miss is they should be doing a lot of planning, assuming that they're going to close the round, right? What is that? What is that they would be doing with the money that they raise over next 12 to 18 months? Because the time will fly before they know it, and they will get caught into acquiring the talent, to making sure that they're also focused on customers and every aspect of building the company. And once you have raised the money, you are accountable. You are accountable to the people who have funded you, right? So and that accountability does not stop. It's a pretty regular accountability. It doesn't happen just at the board meeting on a regular basis. So I would say you can never plan enough ahead of time to be ready on how you're going to use the funds wisely. Otherwise, to what Sam and Jillian said, I mean, money will be, it's easy to spend money.
And with that, it's easy to spend money. It's hard to raise money. And I think now that we've set the tone of some of the challenges that you as founders or VCs out there might see and face, I'd love to understand then, let's flip it a little bit and pivot. To you, each of you, what do you define as post-fundraising success? And I know that we have a few of you from different stages that you're currently in, and I'd love to think about it from the different stages and your perspectives of where you are as founders and VCs.
I'm happy to start. I mean, I think it's hard to answer this question generically because I think what success and enterprise value creation looks like is going to vary a lot depending on the company's stage and also the category it's in. The way I think about this is obviously around kind of product and technology maturity. It's around distribution. It's around business kind of efficiency and overall financial performance. And as you kind of move through kind of the stages of financing, obviously the bar, keeps going up on all the above. In the early stages, it's usually about get the resources in, financial and team-wise to build a product and attract customers. And then, kind of Series A, Series B, oftentimes is really all about kind of go to market and showing you can grow, but do so with reasonable acquisition economics. And then obviously once you kind of get to mid to later stage, you got to show that you can actually get to some degree of financial profitability, right? And you can talk about it in terms of gross profit, contribution profit, but at the end of the day, a path towards actually the ability to generate cash and to do so durably. And I think in building a company, having a really clear view of really two things. One is what is your narrative of equity value creation? And is that one that you've really aligned with your kind of investors and strategic partners in the business? And does it make sense, kind of given what's going on in the broader world? And the second is, what are the metrics that matter at that point in time? And how do you make sure you have the right kind of BI tooling in place to track those really carefully, so you know that you're kind of developing things in a way that makes sense and is appropriate for the stage that you're at?